Hi, in this episode we'll see how to write tests for Ember application. Tests usually is an intermediate topic and rarely included into beginners courses, but I decided to make an exception because writing simple tests is quite a simple task and you should try to do it as soon as possible. In this episode we'll look into only two types of tests: integration tests, which test the whole workflow in your application from start to finish, and unit tests, which are for separate units of your applications, like models, controllers, or components. So let's start from integration tests. We already have some scaffolding thanks to StarterKit, so if you go to tests, here we have the test.js file. So these 3 lines here is the basic setup for testing, and they must be present in all your test files. So here we set in the Ember testing div element, where we will render the testing application. Then we set up the application for testing, and then we inject test helpers. Such test helpers as visit page or fill in some data into the input field. Then we define the module, and this is just the name of the module. We can change it, but we'll keep it as integration tests. And for integration tests, we need to have this setup where we run Ember application, and tear down where we reset Ember application. For unit tests, we do not need to do that. And then we make in our test. So let's test creation of new friend functionality. So first of all, let's change this one. So we create user and see the details. Now we need to visit friends new. After that, we will have the form which we need to fill in, and we fill in with the helper fill in. Then we'll use the ID first name, and we fill it with Alex. So the last name, we'll do Smith, and about, we'll do nice fellow. We want to click on the submit button, and it will have the ID create friend. So now we want to make sure that new friend is added to the list of friends. So we find in the list item, the last of it, and then the anchor tag, and then we take the text of this anchor tag and trim it from spaces, and we expect that it will be Alex. So and here, new friend is added to list. Okay, that's our first test. After that, we want to click on this list item, the last one, anchor tag, and then we'll have function, and we expect that we will have equal find, and we find the paragraph tag with class about, which we're gonna add right now, and its text should equal to about nice fellow. So we need to add these IDs and this class to our template. So let's go to index.html and scroll down to the friends new, and here I will define ID for the first name, ID for the last name, text area ID about, and here where we have about, we'll add class about. Okay, so now let's run our tests. We go to browser and we append test to it. Okay, first name is not found, and that happens because my Ruby server is not running, but I need it to be running. So let's run it. And let's go back and reload the page. So now create friend not found. So we go back here to the index, and in button we add ID, create friend. And let's try it again. And now we're green. And as you can see, it actually displays the process right here in this box. So it's a pretty cool feeling when you have a pretty large app and all these tests have been run there. So this is it, basics of integration testing. So we set up everything for testing, and then we just using the simple helpers to navigate on the page, fill out some forms, click some buttons or elements, and then assert that some specific elements are on the page. So now let's try unit tests, and we're going to test friend model. So if we go to app.js, we have this friend model of ours, and here we have the method, the computed property that we need to test, that it works properly. So to test this friend model, we need to get instance of this model. And this was not so trivial to do a couple of months ago, but now it's much easier. First, we need to download Ember QUnit. So if we go back to browser and we go to github.com for Ember QUnit package, and let's just download zip file. So now let's unzip it. And here in the dist, in globals, we have this main.js file. So let's copy it from the terminal. So I will go to downloads, Ember QUnit master, dist, globals, main, and I place it into the tests vendor. And I will rename it to Ember QUnit.js. Okay, now we need to require this file, and we do it in the test runner. So we have this runner.js file. So here, after QUnit, let's add another line, and here, Ember QUnit.js. Last step is to initialize Ember QUnit. So we go to tests, and right here, we initialize Ember QUnit with the help of globalize. And another thing that we need to do is the setResolver method. Resolver is the thing that will extract the unit for us. So we'll do Ember default resolver.create, and here we specify our namespace, and that's our application name. So in our case, that's app. So we'll do app. Okay, so now we're ready. So all you need to do to use the Ember QUnit is to download it, of course, to require it in the runner, and then to include these 2 lines of code into your test setup. Here, let's define new module, and we're going to define new module for the model. This method is provided by Ember QUnit, and then we specify what model we want to take. That's the friend model, and then the description. Friend model. Okay, so after that, in tests, we'll have subject method, which is actually unit we want. So in this case, friend model. So let's define new test. So we test the age_computed property. So it takes function. And first of all, we need the friend model. So we define friend model. That's going to be this subject. So we do not need the create or something like that. We just use in subject and provide attributes for it. So for our case, we only need to provide birthday. So we provide birthday date and my date of birth. And then we expect that friend get age actually to equal 29. So let's run it. Okay, first name is not found. That's again, I forgot to run server. Let's try it again. And we're green. Excellent. So our age_computed property works. So now let's make sure that when we change birthday to another value, it still works. So for that, we need to set birthday property on a friend. But that's a synchronous type of thing. So we need to surround it in Ember run. And inside of this function, we'll do friend.set. We set birthday to be new date, let's say 0101. After that, we actually expect that friend get age will be equal to 30 because it's passed already, right? We run our tests and we're green. Excellent. So these are the basics of unit testing. So we initialize Ember QUnit and set the resolver, which helps us to get specific units like models, components, controllers, etc. And then we define module for this unit like this. And then we just using it like standard Ember object and test against it. So these were 2 most common testing techniques you'll need from the beginning. Write integration tests when you need to test the whole workflow through your application from start to finish, and use unit tests to test out behavior of your models and other objects. Most often, what you want to test is computed properties. And when you get hold of it, give excellent Ember.js guides on testing a read and dive deeper. As for your assignment, try to write several tests for your library application. So thank you very much for your time, and see you in the next episode.